A pleasant day to all of you. My name is Leandro Loyola from the De La Salle University, Manila, Philippines. I am here to share with you my study entitled Stories and Experiences in the Time of Pandemic, Online Conversations of Filipino Student Affairs and Services Practitioners. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected many countries around the world, and the Philippines is among the countries with a rapidly increasing number of positive cases in the Western Pacific region. Because of this, public health measures were put in place which caused limitations on the mobility of the people and suspension of face to face delivery of education. This pandemic has certainly caused the largest disruption in education history, having affected learners and teachers from around the world. In the Philippines, the higher education institutions' response to the crisis varies depending on their capacity. Some would depend on whether the government has concrete emergency preparedness plans in place, while others had concerns about the placement of technological systems and facilities, availability and access to the internet, the preparation of hard copies of learning materials, and provision for a conducive working environment for teachers and educational staff. The situation has forced all members of the academic community to find solutions to ensure that the learning process continues despite the threats of the pandemic. It has revolutionized the landscape of education and has forced higher education institutions to create a new normal that will still be responsive to the learning needs of the students. The Student Affairs and Services is one of the sectors and educational institutions that have taken key roles in attending to the issues, concerns, and well-being of the students during the abrupt transition of the educational platform. This is in response to the goal of supporting students in their learning and development, and the same is true with Filipino SAS practitioners. Taking by heart their function and mission, they have lived up to the definition of SAS as stated in the CHED Memorandum Order Number 9, Series of 2013, which describes student affairs and services as the services and programs in higher education institutions that are concerned with the academic support experience for the students to attain holistic development. Considering the uniqueness of the situation, the SAS practitioners are faced with the new challenges in addressing the immediate concerns of the students and of creatively delivering programs and services amidst the pandemic. It is in this light that the officers of the Philippine Association of Practitioners of Student Affairs and Services, or PAPSAS, have decided to reach out to the SAS practitioners in the country through the PAPSAS online conversations. The said initiative intends to know and listen to the current concerns and challenges faced by the SAS practitioners in attending to the needs of the students because of the pandemic and the migration of student learning and development to remote or online platforms. Generally, the goal of the said initiative was to provide an opportunity for the SAS practitioners to have a platform to share their experiences in attending to the concerns of the students in line with the changes in modality of providing student learning and development. The activity also intended to document the actions and initiatives of the SAS practitioners and their respective institutions in response to the needs and the concerns of the students during these trying times. The sharing also revealed speculations and projections of the future on how to move forward given the new normal. The online conversation served as an online forum platform to share voices to gain a better understanding of the participants' present disposition. It presented opportunities in gathering information on the issues, concerns, and challenges in the time of the pandemic. It stimulated discussions on their experiences in performing their role as SAS practitioners during the crisis. And it also enabled the sharing of best practices and possible action points that could be responsive to the new normal. Most Filipino SAS practitioners may have experienced difficulty in responding to the immediate needs of their students in the time of the pandemic. It was necessary to engage as SAS practitioners surely know the value of supporting one another by sharing lessons learned during a crisis. Shared voices and reflections through online means can generate solutions, and the opportunity to engage in online conversations empower the SAS practitioners to come up with solutions and immediate responses to the expressed issues and concerns. Constructivist grounded theory as a method and approach in a qualitative study that is used to understand a social process or phenomenon inductively, and knowledge is constructed from the participants' experiences. CGT was used as a method and approach in this study as an inductive approach was considered to generate a new framework and propositions that would best explain the data gathered from the experiences of the participants. The approach is grounded in the participants' own words and narratives of the experiences relevant to the topic at hand. The study is constructivist as the evolving theory or subject experiences was constructed by the researcher and the participants together. This was easily done considering that the researcher is also a SAS practitioner and the lead facilitator of all the sessions for the online conversations. The researcher managed to have direct access to the data and information that were provided by the participants. The participants of the online conversation were the SAS practitioners handling the different offices, units, and student affairs services in their respective higher education institutions. Those who participated in the conversations were assigned to guidance and counseling, student development, student leadership and training, student residence, student disciplines, scholarship, and general student affairs and services administration. The majority are SAS practitioners in higher education, while some are also handling senior high school students. One participant is from the academic affairs who also shared experiences and actions on the academic side. The participants of the conversations were scheduled per region, and this is to easily gather similarities on the concerns experienced in the area. The participants were from the higher education institutions, private schools, state universities and colleges, and local colleges and universities coming from the National Capital Region, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao regions. There were also representatives from the Commission on Higher Education regional offices who listened to the sharing and noted the concerns of the SAS practitioners. The data was gathered through focus group discussions facilitated in the online conversations with the SAS practitioners from the different regions of the country. The goal of the CGT is to develop a conceptual model or theory that describes the social process in question. And Sharma's 2016 prefers the term theorizing, which is an interpretive practice of engaging with the world and constructing an abstract understanding of it. Adapting CGT as a method and approach in facilitating the online conversation and analyzing the gathered data has enabled me as the researcher to theorize the experience of the participants as practitioners and develop a conceptual model that express the realities in response to the phenomena. The gathered data from the online conversations with the Filipino SAS practitioners was processed and analyzed, leading to the documentations of the emergent themes and sub-themes. The iterative categories were translated to emergent themes such as the issues and challenges experienced by the SAS practitioners and the approaches in delivering the programs and services in the new normal. The sub-themes further support the emergent themes and were considered to highlight the common and related stories and experiences of the participants. First on the agenda of the online conversations was to know the stories and experiences of the Filipino SAS practitioners in the time of the pandemic. Common in the facilitated conversations is the narratives that pertains to the issues and challenges experienced by the SAS practitioners in addressing student concerns during the pandemic. The imposition of the enhanced community quarantine disrupted the education sector, and school officials had to come up with immediate actions. It was not only the academics that were abruptly affected, but also the functions of the student affairs and services. The SAS practitioners have played an important role in dealing with the situation of the students, and the online conversations became a platform for them to share their notable stories about these issues and challenges. And they are as follows. First are the academic concerns of the students, the mental health and wellness of the students, the student training and activities, stranded students, online behavior of students, and the job security of the SAS practitioners. In terms of the approaches in delivering SAS programs and services, other than the issues and challenges, the conversation also opened discussions on the action points and plans in moving forward. All the participants acknowledge the fact that there is a need to adapt to new systems. Many have already started discussions within their units on reinventing the delivery of their programs and services, and they focus on the most immediate concerns and explore technological alternatives as a new approach to responding. Some are still lost on how to move forward and lack guidance from their school officials as they are still busy addressing the academic concerns and business continuity of the institution. Just the same, many were able to share initial initiatives as an immediate response, including gathering of data on the condition of the students, the migration to online platforms, and the skills development and training. After careful analysis of the gathered stories and experiences of the SAS practitioners, it was then theorized that the main subject at hand is on the state of student affairs and services in the new normal. Ideally, SAS practitioners must gain a better understanding of the needs of the students to serve in the new normal. Through the analytical engagement with the developed teams, certain action points and conceptual model were conceived to help in the seamless transition of student affairs and services practitioners to the new normal. The action points or propositions must be led by the following key players involved: the Commission on Higher Education, who should be tasked in developing and releasing a standard guide for all Filipino SaaS practitioners on the flexible delivery of SaaS programs and services in the new normal. Second would be the PAPSAS Incorporated, or the National Association of SaaS Practitioners in the Philippines, who can initiate professional development programs that will enhance the skills and capabilities of the SaaS practitioners in leading and managing their offices, emphasizing the impacts of the new normal. And thirdly, to the SaaS practitioners, because the output of this gathering, or the shared stories and experiences, have provided salient points on how they can address the conditions that were brought about by the new normal. The issues and challenges experienced, as well as the new approaches in the delivery of the programs and services, may be simplified with the consideration of the three I's: the innovation, involvement, and infrastructure. The different sub-themes were clustered according to the appropriate response that should be given. So in general, if you're going to sum it up, the emergent themes can be responded to by incorporating innovation, involvement, and infrastructure to the delivery of the SaaS in the new normal. Another way of looking at the themes, or the themes that are iteratively emerged in the course of discussions, is through the conceptual model that can help facilitate the development of response in addressing the need of SaaS practitioners to be able to cope with the impacts of the new normal. So this figure shows the three I's model for student affairs and services in the new normal. The model highlights the consideration of the three I's as practitioners reimagine student affairs and services in the new normal. So this includes innovation, wherein innovation should be considered in the delivery of programs and services, as the pandemic may also be seen as an opportunity to upgrade the mode of delivery of education and divert attention to emerging technologies. The involvement of students in online activities may truly be a concern, as practitioners keep in mind their varied situations and limitations. However, it is still important to encourage the students to engage and support their need to connect and lessen the feeling of isolation. Infrastructure pertains to the platforms or systems that will be used to deliver the SaaS programs and services. These are the online spaces where the students and the SaaS practitioners must meet together, and because it is important to keep these spaces safe and conducive for learning and interaction. The propositions and conceptual model may be applied generally, as practitioners take the lead in inspiring students toward productivity and continuous development as they surpass the challenges of the new normal. So in conclusion, the stories shared by the participants have revealed important points in attending to student affairs and services in the new normal. The insights coming from the discussions from fellow SAS practitioners resulted in the following realization. The pandemic has surely affected a lot, and it caused disruption in the learning process. There is a validation and evolution of the role of SAS practitioners in this new normal. There is a need for continuity, as SAS practitioners recognizes that the support for student must be the top priority in a crisis like this. And there's a need to consider the readiness of the SAS practitioners in response to the new normal. There is also a need to improve future interactions, in which the participants have mentioned the involvement of more SAS practitioners in the online activities, and for the key players like PAPSAS Inc. as the National Association for Filipino SAS Practitioners to organize online seminars and training programs, and to provide opportunities for more conversations, continuous learning, and sharing of best practices. That would be all for me. Thank you very much for listening.